Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's editions of Beyond. Oh my goodness, today's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. Today we have the amazing Christel Hughes on, and we're going to be talking about what's blocking my connection to my primary oracle. What does that mean? What are we going to get into? So, some of the things that we're going to get into are the dimensional realms that your celestial beings call home and why this matters. Insight on the type of beings you need to make a connection with to go into other dimensions. And we're going to get particular about which dimensions and why and how we can access them. How to release dependency on your spirit guides and what to focus on instead, and so much more. So it's going to be an amazing call. Christel is always just filled with so much wisdom and transmission for us. And we'll get into live Q&A later and then so much other fun stuff. Christel, welcome to the call today. It's great to see you.
Hello, hello. Oh my goodness. What season are we even on now? John, 32 or something like that?
I don't
What
know.
number have you reached?
I think we're actually 33 season. Yeah.
33? Oh my gosh. So thank you for having me.
Of
And
course.
John, you are a legend. I am so grateful to be here. You guys know, I love this community. I feel the spark of life. I'm literally bubbling over. And I said that when I told everyone I was going to be on today. There's this energy every time that I come into this community. I get giddy, actually. And I feel that life force, and I feel the accumulation of all the vibrancy over all the years of the geniuses that have come on before me. So absolutely, I love this space. I adore you, John, and I adore all the people. Thank you, thank you. Oh my God, so good to be here today.
Well, you were part of it. You saw it from the beginning a long, long time ago. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate just how you keep expanding and growing. And there's such integrity in it. And because of that, the way that you're able to be a beacon as you blaze a trail for yourself, for other people as well. So let's get into this conversation, Christel. It's so important. Um, what's blocking my connection to my primary oracle?
Well, we have to actually look into our journey that has brought us to these dynamic beings. So I thought that I would share just a little bit because so many of us have been focusing in on fifth dimensional reality, focused on our light bodies, right? Everyone, you guys have done an excellent job. And for years, we have been focusing in on that, right? But what I started seeing, John, is that as we were growing and expanding and going to the next level, really of dedication to the divine, dedication to ourselves, what I started finding is that we weren't just hovering around that 3 to 5D reality where our guides are the main beings that support us. And the way that this started happening is how I started actually moving from a multi-sensory intuitive to a multidimensional intuitive. That's not just a name I made up. It's actually an experience. And really starting to understand extrasensory, being able to hone in and see, sense, feel, know simultaneously. But what happened is my higher self started taking me to what was called the holodeck. And I started putting my clients on the holodeck as I was doing healings, as I was doing intuitive readings. It was all about the holodeck. And I just thought that that was a place that would allow me to maneuver around them. I could go underneath them. I could go on top of them. I could see layers deep within them. I could go right down to cells and see what was going on with the cell and was it playing nicely with the other cells. And so the holodeck came into my world probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And it had to do with the entrance of Metatron's cube into my life. And at that time, I withheld that from everyone. I didn't let anyone know that I was actually working on the holodeck with them. I would just place them on the clients on the holodeck, but I would keep that to myself. I would share the information coming through, but I never mentioned holodeck until one day it just slipped through and slipped out. And then, of course, everyone was saying, well, what's the holodeck? Like, what's happening? And that's when I realized the holodeck is the seventh dimensional experience of our reality. And that I had gone from that multi-sensory intuitive to the multi-dimensional reality and the multi-dimensional experience. But just as I was evolving to go beyond the fifth dimension, if you will, of primarily working with spiritual guides, is that there were these other beings that started showing themselves to me. And not just for myself, but as I started playing in this realm of the seventh dimension, I understood that this was the holographic realm. And in the holographic realm, we have many choices and many options. Just as I was holding space for that client for their optimal reality to be chosen by them in that moment, I was observing in the way that the oracles that are the beings that we're working with from that fifth to 11th dimension, the way that they would show up. And it was fascinating to observe how they revealed themselves and why they're here for us.
It's amazing what you're tapping into, and what are you finding out as you're having this relational dynamic with this intelligence that you're now accessing?
Oh my goodness. Let me share with you. It is so impressive because the beings, as I would see them, would show up. So I got taken myself one time. And you know how that goes? Like you're in that meditation, and then suddenly you arrive and you're like, where in the hell am I? You
And
know?
how did I get
But
here?
then these mirror, huh?
And
What?
how did I get here? Yes.
You yeah, exactly. So these mirror beings start showing up. There's small ones, there's big ones, there's light, kind of silvery ones, there's like purple energy ones, there's deep ones, there's shallow ones. These beings were showing up. And what I was starting to sense is that I was in a hall of mirrors. But the hall of mirrors wasn't a hallway that's linear, it was spiral. And so I'm surrounded, but as I would turn, I would get a reflection of parts and pieces of me that I could choose. I could choose to go with that one. And if I allowed that being to bless me with that reflection and I clicked into 0 point energy from waveform into a point of light, then suddenly the template of the reflection of the highest order of my being would actually start to mold my energetic field. And that there was an interplay. This interplay was with my holographic body. And what occurred and what I actually came to find out, which was so brilliant, is that it's like a simulator. So as if I was a pilot and I'm in a simulation, and I'm flying and I'm now getting qualified, right? I'm getting qualified for something. The oracle beings are showing up to give us an opportunity to choose the highest version of the hologram we want to embody and to qualify us as dynamic stellar and celestial channels.
That's amazing, Christel, that you access that. So that's one thing that you're going to those places, are you teaching other people and demonstrating to them how they can do that as well? Do you have like a roadmap for it?
I can easily share with you people and I can take them there. Now, this is the fascinating thing. In my human design, I actually have the gate that traverse realms. In other words, if you head out into the forest with me, because I have the gateway to traverse the fairy realm, I can expose the fairies to you.
Hmm.
Just as I can go to the celestial realms, in which we started seeing that I was talking about the celestial body. I started talking about the star beings and the starlight frequencies and how the starlight energy could really initiate you. And because I am an initiator, that's what I do. I initiate each person into their highest level of embodiment of their higher self. Just like we know the higher self has to descend into the body. And when I would help people descend and literally embody their higher self, then we could activate their spiritual gifts. And the interesting thing would happen is that I would connect with one of these celestial beings and I would download what we would call their spiritual gift assignment. And I would offer that assignment to the client. And with an audience, suddenly they would channel whatever that assignment was and totally shock themselves and shock everybody else.
Wow.
Because in their mind, they were just who they were, still at that level of student, not embodied. So when you ask me that, I do have the energetic makeup, but the whole point is not to just teach about spirit guides. Not that, I'm not downplaying that. Not to just teach about oracles or teach about the other celestial beings, the Davic realm. But what I'm doing and what my great gift is to initiate the person's energetic structures and their field and their holographic body and work on the access points, because that's what I'll share is that there's ways that send the simulation down to our own human self to embody that template. We get qualified, if you will. But when the energy of the simulation of the highest option, right, the highest option for us, we sometimes aren't prepared for the degree of the light. In other words, even if we meet with our oracle guide and we choose that option of that hologram to become that, the template starts to embody us through the holographic energy field. And then it penetrates through the light body and goes into the celestial body. But what I've seen is, unfortunately, people's energetic structures and then all the way down through the gateways and the channels aren't really ready to receive the degree of light. So therefore, they don't conform. The molding is trying to happen, but they don't conform. The message is being presented to them, but they don't see it. So it's like your oracle could be right in front of you right now, and you've been asking for something to be shown to you or to be revealed to you. And they're handing you the envelope, but you don't see the envelope and you don't see them. So really what I'm doing here and what we're doing with Guided by Light is to have me support you in working with what we know as these specific, and every realm has a specific gateway. Once you open that gateway, then you open the channel and you prep the channel. So let's say for the Earth Root Nexus gateway, which is the Davic realm, which is 0 dimension to the 3rd dimension, right? Where is that in you? Because once you open that gateway, you now have a new conversation with these Davic beings that are going to serve your greater purpose and your greater Dharma. And with the dimension, like the 3rd dimension to the 5th, with our spirit guides, we actually have the gateway of intuition. And that is in a place unique to you. And we have the channel of your soul path, the channel of the soul path, the soul pathway. And we've got the celestial corridor that is from that mid 5th range of the dimension to the 11th dimension, which is the oracle realm, right? So my greatest gift that I can give is to identify the specific location of where that's at in your celestial body, your energetic body. So if you guys, some might not know, the celestial body is one of the 7 energy bodies in your aura. And it's close to the outer edge of your aura. The outer edge is the etheric template. And the celestial body is the way that you can translate accurate the truth that is being sent to you by any one of these celestial allies. And so I've been working for years now with the celestial body, and that's why we were preparing to be able to go through that 5th dimension to that 7th dimension and really have our consciousness start to live in the 7th dimension of the hologram. And that's what's allowed us to actually start to interact with our parallel lives, when our parallel lives started coming into our conversation, because our parallels are literally holograms. They're holograms of us. We're in a different realm. But when we start to notice about these access points, and that's what I call them, they're the gateways, and then opening the gateways to the specific channels, we can just call them in general access points. And I have to see what the condition is. What's the of your access point, right? And that's why we've got that question today that we're answering. Like, what's in the way of you accessing your primary oracle? It's one of the access points that possibly isn't functioning in the way that it's meant to function, in order for you to bring the light through, handle the degree of light, and translate it accurately into your message. And depending on which realm, right? Which dimensional realm.
Well, I think, first of all, it's extremely important to understand that this is newer information that's coming up for us. So it's kind of like the 4-minute mile. We didn't know that we can quite get there until somebody didn't. Then all of a sudden, it just starts popping all over the field. So everyone listening to the replay, having an awareness first and foremost that that's there. Maybe that's why you've been feeling like something's there, but we don't know quite how to get there. It's like that brass ring is just within reach and we just can't quite grab it. And then we wonder what's wrong. By you even shedding light on this, Christel, it begins to open up a new potentiality and awakening something within us without having to navigate through the thick fog of trying to discover that shore, but not knowing how to direct our vessel. And so that's, I just want to point that out to everybody. Because again, if we didn't know, we didn't know. And again, we can feel something, but it just doesn't feel right. So this education about this, just from a foundational point, is huge. But then we have someone like you, Krista, who's actually
Hallelujah.
through it. Yeah, what'd you say?
I said hallelujah, because it's so easy to see, oh, I'm going to pop up to the 11th or the 12th, 22nd dimension. We need to know what we're doing, who's there, why have we arrived? Why have we arrived at that place? what are we doing, and how does that frequency interact with our frequency that we're carrying now? So when I started observing the access points, and again, it was kind of like that, not knowing, like things come out of my mouth and I'm just like, oh, there's an access point. Oh, I've got to work with your access point. And then I'm like, okay, what's an access point? What's going on there? And really starting to pay attention. And what we're starting to see is that the access points are the place that in our celestial body lives at 0 point energy. It's a portal at 0 point. There's no polarity there. And so each access point, and this is why I'm saying I'm mapping the Earth Root Nexus and the Celestial Corridor and how they relate to the dimensions. I'm mapping them and writing this down for everyone so that we can start to understand that when you place your inner eyes and attention at that spot that's within you in your unique place, you are activating a miniature toroidal field that is the same at the tiny space of the heart and the convergence point. And so when you come from waveform into a localized position and live and access, in other words, to channel from the place of the tiny space of the heart, which is the greater portal, which so many cultures already know this. This isn't something I made up. This is how beings, on planet Earth knew where they were going to go to meet up in 1988 with the Great Convergence, right? You had people that were coming from places that didn't have a telephone. And how did they show up for the Great Convergence? At the place in Arizona at the time when everyone was gathering, because they were plugged in to the field. So each access points is a portal at 0 point. And when we are in our place at 0 point, we can easily allow the light and the information. We activate a little miniature toroidal field and I can observe it. I mean, it's so beautiful. You're on the holodeck. We work on the access points. We clean them up. We clear them up. And suddenly it's flowing energy. It's opening you. It's allowing a flood of beautiful, brilliant light. Now, the other thing, John, is that when we work with the oracles, because it's a reflection, it's not in words. Our spirit guides are about our ascension process. Oracles are about elevation. With our spirit guides, we get signs, symbols, communications. With the oracles and the reflection, it comes through as tones, vibrational frequencies, light fluctuations. It comes through as fragrances, smells. It comes through as colors, colors that I can't even describe. So the colorful nature of my intuitive readings when I'm placing someone on the holodeck, it's so different than I have ever experienced before. And now, having done it for a time, everyone was like, whoa, what's going on? We've never seen this crystal before. Like, we're all going to places that we couldn't even imagine accessing instantaneous states of oneness, of bliss, of exhilaration, of joy.
Yeah, it's really quite profound what you're speaking of, and it's that there's a few things that you're speaking of that are reminding me of my process as of recent as well. Because I'm finding that when I go into quiet space, and I can't even call it meditation anymore, it's stillness space. And in that
Mm.
stillness space, I'm finding that I'm going more direct to source. It's like whatever guides were in the way, which were beautiful and such facilitation and helping me to get into vibrational chord, I know. But it's like the seas are parting and there's like a connection into another access point that's available. And it's kind of blowing my mind away. And and when I'm finding because of it also, I want to go there more often. It's like, wait, what is this? And that relationship and how it's bringing in such anchored perspective. So something in that I'll call this grounding heaven on earth for me. And I'm able to meet it in a stillness and a stability that I haven't felt quite like this before, ever.
I speaking, and my words for that are the axial alignment,
Mm.
right? And that axial alignment, when we're on that deck and observing, we can go up above, we go directly up above the person. We look down and we see where is line, that axial line. And that axial line connects you to through the cosmic center, basically cosmic center point coming through you. Then you're starting to get on this your grid, this cosmic grid. And so your lifeline becomes spiral. And so when we start to see that spiral nature, spiral consciousness, again, it's reflective and showing us these are oracle beings that are coming into our reality. So that's why they showed up in that spiral. We're not at the seventh dimension, we have not linear any means. Like in the fifth dimension, no time space reality. We've known that, but now we're really starting to get, whoa, this unity consciousness field and this spiral consciousness and the spatial consciousness that we're in now is profound. And just as you stated there, it's not about going higher and not bringing it back down. And that was the one thing that they made me promise, is that any work with the oracles, I also had to do work with the Davic realm. So the Davic realm is, these Davic beings are celestial beings. But most people know the devas as the fairies or the gnomes, the sprites, the sylphs, the undines, all of the elementals, right? And we know them on the earthly realm. But these are celestial beings. They're not assigned to only be in this earthly realm as if it's below, right? In our mind, 0 to third dimension is here, and then fifth, right? But again, these are circles of dimensions around us, circles of dimensions that we get to choose to traverse at any time. But they made me promise, because the Davic realm is the realm of harmony and balance. And we can't go to those high dimensions and not allow ourselves to bring a true, strong, stabilizing force or consciousness back down to actualize the experience. We are here for a greater purpose. And so these Davic beings are celestial beings, and there's governing devas, There's managing devas. And to put this in perspective, each energy, entity, being has a deva. It is a deva. So let's say you're touching a tree. There's a deva of the tree, but there's also a deva of the forest. There's a deva of the lake. There is a deva of the stream, the river. There's a deva of the ocean. There's a deva of each of the planets. There's a deva of the sun. And the beauty of this is that when I work with you and we start to work in our energy labs, what we're doing is we're starting to call forth the glory nature, if you will, the glory vibration of each being. So at the highest level, we have the glory of Goddess Lakshmi, who is a Davic being, Lord Shiva, Krishna, Saraswati. And if we want to learn to play an instrument, we call on the Deva, Goddess Saraswati, right? Because that's her personality, her Davic personality. But she's on the spectrum of Divine Mother. But we're qualifying the Davic energy, the managing Deva of music, of education, right? So hopefully that helps put that in perspective, is that we're not saying that a little tiny fairy that might be, an air fairy, a sylph, that being isn't any less important than the Davic being that is the Deva that's governing, Yellowstone, right? The beings that are these Davic beings, and the beauty that I love about this is that if there is a being, let's say, that's assigned to the first dimensional realm, and there's a being assigned to the second dimension, the being that is at the second dimension, in its service to nature, is always up-leveling the being at the first dimension. And the being at the third dimension is up-leveling the first and second dimensional beings. But think about this. We've done so much work to get our consciousness up through that fourth dimension to that fifth dimension. And we are holding consciousness that is now up-leveling the beings from the third and fourth dimension. And now we're being asked to raise ourselves to that seventh dimensional conscience, which is the holographic conversation. And we're passing through that fifth, through this sixth, which is the magnetism. It's magnetic. It's the divine feminine magnetism that uses that capacity to work with the electrical energy of the masculine and to bring those together. Okay? So as we are focusing in and being able to understand this divine feminine energy of the dimension, sixth dimension, bringing that in to magnetize now and to magnetize the hologram that we want to manifest. We bring the electrical energy. That's why we've been working with the electromagnetic channels within our being. All right? So we're marrying those, and that helps us with that hologram and working at that seventh dimension. So now it's about taking that light body and starting to now build out into the holographic body and the holographic realm. And as we do that, we're up leveling everybody below us, which it's not really below, but in the lower dimensions.
Yeah, it's fascinating the way that you're describing this and bringing awareness to it. And I want to get into Q&A in just a little bit. You also, if you guys have questions, want to have a quick reading, and which will be just an introduction to the special offer and into what you'll be receiving there also. But to have Christel tune in, it's amazing, because your clarity, Christel, is just spectacular. But before we get into Q&A, and I'm going to start promoting some people here to panelists, why such a huge acceleration in the timelines? Because for 10 years, we were talking about 5D. Fifth dimension, if we could only get there, and then we anticipated this liberation, this Shangri-La happening in 5D, and now we're talking about 6th, 8th, 10th, 11th dimensions. What has facilitated those doors swinging open in that way, and why now?
I feel like these beings that are the planets are ready for us to know them more intimately so that we can karmic vibrations that they're under contract. They're under contract with the divine to shine down and send these frequencies into us. And because Mother Earth is screaming right now, right? She's like, pay attention. You guys can't go on if you don't start to pay attention to my Davic beings. And so the planets that are now starting to bring a new heightened level of engagement to the dance floor, I guess it would be, because we're kind of dancing on the infinite playground, right? They want to dance with us in new ways for creating a new hologram. So I feel like they recognize the need that we can't continue going on higher and not understanding what we're doing as we're going, and the interaction with these Davic beings, these celestial beings. Because when we allow them in and stand, wow, I'm working with them right now because I'm in this specific cycle. I'm in a dormancy cycle. So therefore, I need to communicate with the Deva of Mercury, of Saturn, of whoever it might be. And in opening that channel and being able to communicate and get that energy, get the wisdom, get the lesson, get the blessing, I can now live up to what I set as my values. I set a value, live in these certain values, but when I get pummeled by Saturn, you know, I'm like, Saturn, stop it. And I'm not in harmony, right? I'm not in harmony. So for me, that's how I'm seeing it, is it's time for us, our planet Earth is like, please get to know me. Because like I say, you know, unfortunately, there's still people out there that don't understand that a tree is a being. And they're killing these beings by the millions and trying to make money off of them. And when we can bring our attention and our heart and live at that still point and start to engage with the beings and let them into our world, let them into our vocabulary, then it's a whole new reality, because it's a whole new hologram that all of us are using, right? We're going to choose that hologram. And which hologram are we choosing, right?
Well, I think we're becoming more aware of not which hologram are we choosing, but also the why we're choosing that hologram. And the ripple effects of our action for our own evolution. But again, what that creates in the collective and our awareness of how responsible we are for the creation of all of consciousness becomes quite profound. So we're functioning from a whole different level of intelligence in those realms that and that could seem y'all like it's, oh my God, it's so responsible and I have so much weight on my shoulders and I gotta like be like really careful about how I create. And I find that it's actually quite the opposite. It actually becomes so freeing and you're aware what you're creating with. And from that standpoint and that consciousness, the capacity to destroy, the capacity to harm anything becomes exponentially diminished. It becomes negligent, to be honest with you, from my perspective. So it's yes, we're maturing and we're expanding and we become more aware, and the sensitivity to all sentient beings, that dharmakaya that we get to step into from that realized state, it's profound. And then we do have the capacity to create our own heaven on earth and to create new iterations of it moving forward as well. So it's phenomenal, Christel, what you're opening for so many through this awareness and through these teachings. And y'all, the special offer is all about this, really taking you into the power that you have within yourself. And again, if you're shown that gateway, where are you going to fly to? So we're going to get into the special offer in just a little bit. But Christel, I'd love to take some Q&A and see what shows up, because I feel like there's some grounding and some more articulation of what you're sharing that's going to come through the questions. So
I'm ready.
If you're ready for that, fantastic. Let's start with Cindy White. Cindy, let's get you to unmute your microphone. And what is your question for Christel?
Hi, John. Hi, Christel. Thank you so much for taking my call. So glad to be here. I would like to ask, what would be blocking my primary connection to my primary oracle?
Yeah. So looking, what I'm starting to see is in the celestial body, your access points, what now it's like they're bundled up really tight and they've got this sticky kind of residue or it's resin. It's like a resin energy. Now, when I track that, we're going to a past life. And what I'm starting to see in this past life is a feeling that it's wrong for me to engage with these Davic beings, right? And this level of punishment in having done that. Okay. Now, also, I think in that lifetime, when I'm looking at that, I'm also engaging with the wizard archetype of your frequency. So you were a wizard in that
sure
lifetime.
how to do this.
You had capacity to bring the elements together to engage in a certain way. And when you did that with that wizard energy, one of the things that you could do is that you could literally spark someone's pineal gland to turn them on. Talk about initiation. So you had that, and I see you in that mystery school back then. So what I would suggest is that we need to work on that. Now, let me see how many past lives we're going to. 34 past lives ago. Okay, so 34 past lives ago, we've got to literally open and clear off that suppression. And I feel like it was vital in that lifetime. Like you literally had to flee, you had to run, you had to hide. And I'm seeing like different kinds of warlike invasions coming in. But that's really what I'm looking at. Now, what's important is the location of that. So again, I see that in the location in front of your throat. And it's about, I would say, probably about 18 inches in front of your throat. That's where your access point is. And what I'm reading is the gateway of intuition for you. Okay, the gateway of intuition. Okay, so that's what's closed off.
Oh, how do I go about reopening that?
That's what we're going to do. We're going to do that in our energy labs. Okay. So in Guided by Light, we literally are going to do each of the realms. We're going to go in and we're going to focus in on your spirit guides for the first week. We're going to focus in on your oracle access points. And then we're going to focus in on the Davic access points. And we're real time. We're going to be cleaning it, literally shifting that energy and opening the gateway and we're opening the channels as well, so that you literally are going to have access to that primary spirit guide wanting to come in. So that's what we're going to do in Guided by Light program. I'm going to work with Metatron's Cube as well, and right on the spot we're going to do it as a group. We'll heal it right up. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds wonderful. And by the way, I wanted to let
Yeah.
you know, Christel, since working with you, I've been seeing a lot of mandalas have been showing up, as well as Metatron's cube. I get these visions, they come in different colors, like in green, pink, and white. So I've been seeing them. I think that's a good sign that we're trying to
It's
make
a
a
very good
connection.
sign. Yeah. Now, what I want you to do, though, is I want you to imagine them as beings. So start to, engage with them as these Davic beings, right? And start to see, who are they? And then channel that vibrational frequency tone, and that will help you the message from each one.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on.
Blessings to you
Yeah,
all.
I'm so
You're welcome.
proud.
Hopefully
Yay.
we'll see you in the
Yeah.
course. So we're gonna go
Good
through
job.
the special offer in a little bit, y'all. I want to take one more caller. We're going to special offer, then we're going to a lot more Q&A as well. But Apadajita, is that correct? Am I pronouncing it correct? If you can unmute yourself and maybe pronounce your name correctly for me, so because I want to honor
Yeah, sorry. I know my name is difficult. It's Aparajita. I'm from
Apadajita. That's what I
India.
said. Awesome.
Yes. All right.
Welcome.
So thank you for letting me in because I was trying to connect for a long time because I love being on this show. Okay, so I will make it quick. So I have two questions. Like because you mentioned the devas, and is chanting mantras a way to get connected to that? Because that's what I do a lot. And one more thing, how does the initiation happen? Because something happened just few days back. I was like, I'm at a point of my life where I'm at nowhere, and I get very frustrated that no breakthrough is happening. And I think it was the night before the eclipse, Sunday night. I was about to fall asleep and something really strange happened. And something I was about to fall asleep with all this and with my questions to the universe, whatever. And something like I felt like an electric jolt and something in my mind's eye. It seemed like I saw an angel or something. I don't know. It was what happened. So I just wanted to take clarity about these things.
Yes, yes. So when we chant the mantra, it's very similar to what I was talking about, is the beings are actually tonal vibrations. And you have certain connection points on the hard palate of the roof of your mouth. So when you chant certain vibrational chants, right, what's happening is your tongue is flicking certain points, just as you would have a piano and your fingers would, right, push down on the keys and there would be a tone. It's the same thing that's happening, right? So Om, Hrim, Shrim, Klim, Mahalakshmiye Namaha, right? When we chant and when we're in the vibrational frequency, we're utilizing our whole instrument to send a vibrational message, and we're sending that out through our celestial body. That's why it's good to chant out loud if we're wanting to call in, let's say, Goddess Lakshmi. I love Lakshmi. So we're calling forth Goddess Lakshmi. We're calling forth the Davic vibration. Again, it's a specific frequency that we're locking into, right? And we're drawing that energy to us. Okay, so depending on, just like I was saying, Goddess Saraswati. So so if we're chanting the Goddess Saraswati mantra, we're calling forth that being, right? We're bringing that in, we're welcoming that in. The thing is that what we're looking at is how well can we access or accept or receive that specific energy. Goddess Lakshmi is about prosperity and abundance, many, many forms of it. But how well can we receive that? So imagine that you're on the 7th dimensional realm, you're on holodeck, and you've got this holographic being that is mirroring to you all of the prosperity, this prosperous life that you want, and you've been chanting for it, and you choose it. But the problem is that when you choose that and your being isn't capable, even your mind isn't capable of accepting that amount of grace all at once, you're only going to be able to open so far and let so much light in. So the reality is of what happens is that you don't even choose the most dynamic, ultimate mirror reflection. You don't use that or being. You one that only halfway there. Because your mind goes, well, that's reality. You know, I can't win the lottery, you guys. Well, why couldn't you win the lottery? Right? But I'm not going to choose the hologram where I win the lottery because my mind goes, nah, what are the chances? So what I'm working on is I'm going into the body and the energetic system, the celestial body, to actually clean up and clear up the gateways. We call those the access points, so that the channel of that abundance comes through. So when you're chanting, it's actually coming to you to reality. So the hologram of the reality of prosperity, whether that you've got the prosperity of, I want to have another child, or you have the prosperity of, I want enough money to go, buy a home. So we've been limiting that. And that's what we've got to work on, is opening up our energetic structures and systems to be able to draw all of that in. There's nothing being able to consciously receive that. Now, when I'm tuning into you, and that second question of like, who's showing up for you? Actually, what I'm feeling is more of Bhagavati is who's coming in. Bhagavati, that's who you're drawing in. That's who you're sensing. Okay, so that's who's there arriving for you.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Means a lot.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
good to have you here. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for the question. Y'all, we're gonna get to special offer because it is a big package, and there's an opportunity to work with Christel one-on-one also to get into that session is epic. And we're gonna come back into more Q&A and more of refining also, because we're receiving so much here today and we're attuning to it. This is such an amazing call. It's really helping me to attune to my awareness of these gateways that I'm crossing the thresholds of, I'll call, or have been invited to. And so again, the invitation into that, and not have to like stutter step into it, but really walk forward in the mastery that I've attained up to now. I think that's part of the calling also. Y'all have done so much work. You hold a particular intention, a particular harmonic within you. And to be aware of that, to be emboldened by who you truly are, and to step through and know who your allies are, and trust that guidance. It's such a beautiful time, and we're being called to it now. So this is amazing. Y'all, the link for the special offer, April, please type it into the chat box, please. There it is. Chris typed it in for us. Y'all click on the blue link in the chat box. You can also find the special offer by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. in the marketplace, you'll see Christel's picture, the special offer button. Click on that, and you'll be able to follow along with Christel here. If you're listening to the replay, the link for that's just gonna be right underneath the video where you're watching the replay from. Or if you made the screen bigger, maybe reduce the screen or follow the link in the chat box also. And Christel got everybody through what they'll be receiving. And again, you know, there's 2 special offers, but this is amazing.
And the amazing thing about this is that in this offer, there's something brand new that I've never offered before, which is the Oracle Rising
Wow.
private one-on-one session with me. So you know how I love to surprise, and so this is my surprise for this time, that
So good at that.
this has not been offered. The Oracle Rising private session, when I tell you the feeling tone of the vibrations of your oracle coming and visiting, and you being able to grasp that frequency, it's as if I'm the mediator and I'm bringing 2 together, right? And so when we start, this is an immersive journey, because this is something where you actually are allowing yourself to be vulnerable to the degree of the light that can come into you. This is a stimulation of the vibrational frequencies that are pulsating energies that are already, they're like waiting. They're waiting to actually be played like musical instruments within your being, within your body, and within your celestial body, especially, okay? So we start out on this journey with an intention ceremony. And I want you to think about this feeling tone of being able to have the beings start to engage with you. This energy of the devas, when you start to place your attention on them, your whole life starts to change. You can't look at the grass even, or a flower, in the same way. There's this intimate, beautiful, loving and nurturing energy where you want to be a part of life in a new way. And it's interesting, it's fascinating to engage at that level. So we start with that intention ceremony, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put you into 3 different, I would call them layers, and you're working with Carrie Kaiser, who is a heart awakener. She works with the guardians of the dimensions. She works with the crystal beings that live in these crystal bowls. And these crystal beings actually come out, and they have told her, with the dimensional beings, these guardians of the dimensions, in which order she needs to play these crystal bowls to bring you into sync, first and foremost, with your spiritual guides, with the oracle beings, and with the devas. If we can get you connected into the tiny space and draw your higher self-consciousness into your being, then you're going to be at that point in which you can feel and sense the perceptive abilities and capacities you need to resonate at those dimensions. Okay? So in opening you up, what starts to happen is you get in sync with the vibrational frequency. She attunes you right on those calls. These are 3 Zoom call experiences, okay? So you're going to be attuned and be in sync, okay, with the vibrational frequencies beings. Now, what starts to happen after that, right? When you get in tune, that's when you're going to start to then come into the world of the 7th dimension with me. In that 7th dimensional realm, these are live calls in real time, where I'm going to place you on the holodeck. Just placing you on the holodeck, you're going to feel a new frequency within your own self. And I don't know if you can feel it through me right now. I know that you think I'm just excited and I'm sharing it. No, I'm channeling the 7th-dimensional frequency to you right now. As we call forth Archangel Metatron and Metatron's cube, we're starting to draw that energy. We place you on the holodeck and you are finally seen for who you are. Now I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to find the exact access point. The first call is going to be for your spiritual guides. And as we find that, just as you heard me when I was working with Cindy here, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on, but we're going to put you in the center of the circle. We're activating the Metatron, activating the Heartlight activation rays, and we're calling forth the brilliant beings of the 7th dimension to actually in real time shift and transform you. Open the gateway. Now, specifically in this one, for the spiritual guides, again, we're focusing in on the gateway of intuition. So what that means and how that translates, you guys, is if you've been saying, oh, I want my clairaudience to open. Oh, I want my clairvoyance to open. That's what we're doing. I've chosen that gateway. And then the channel is the channel of your soul pathways. And that's about actualizing your purpose, taking your intuitive knowing and then channeling it into what you're creating, you're offering. So that's the first energy lab. The second energy lab we're going to do is call forth your oracle being. The oracle being, that mirror being, reflector that's going to come in. And we're working on bringing the frequency through that celestial corridor. So as we bring it through the celestial corridor, we're activating the channel that's going to come in. And that channel of that celestial corridor has to do with the fullness of the allness. In other words, it's accessing the frequency of your stellar channel. So these are, you see my hands going into lotus position? This is lotus right here, lotus flower. I can't help it. It just automatically happens. It's the stellar channel. And imagine the starlight frequencies of the beings that literally are living, the oracles that are living in the constellations are going to come in for you to open you up to whom you're supposed to be channeling. Okay. Then we're going to work with the Davic realm. And just like I mentioned, we're going to find the access point. You're going to know exactly where it is when you leave that call. It's so important. Why? Because that's where you have to place your attention. With your inner eyes, you have to place your attention in your celestial body so that you're drawing the subtle frequency of the Deva through your being. Now we're going to go to the gateway of the earth root nexus point, right? And we're opening that and starting to bring the Davic being. Now, what does the Davic being do to serve you? It serves to ground you, harmonize, and balance your voice, your truth, your authentic beingness on this planet. So anything that you've had trouble, it's like, oh, I want a relationship, Christel. Okay. Well, someone might come close, but then they go out, they leave you. You've not been connected with the Davic realm to the degree you can anchor. Maybe you wanted a job opportunity and you got close, but you never landed it. That's because of the Davic realm. There's a disconnection there, and I'm going to open that up for you so that you're actually opening the channel for actualization. Okay? All right. So that's what we're going to be doing in our beautiful calls. Now, again, these are energy labs. So you have to know that I'm going to put you on the holodeck. Whether you're live with me or not, I can work with your energy. You will be placed in the circle. And so we will do that. And we will heal and we will shift and we will adjust. And then we will amplify the frequencies and the energies right there on the call. Now, what happened is, again, people have been going on the holodeck and in these experiences of these energy labs with me, John, and they've been blown away at the high degree of frequencies they start to feel in their own body. And they start to access these experiences of joy and bliss. And it's like celebration. It's like when you're going to a party and you're celebrating, you're dancing, you feel alive, you feel the vitality. So I bring you up, and then we activate the dynamic beings that are there for you. So when you leave, you're going to know exactly where to look, how to open that gateway and bring that energy in. The other thing that I think is important is now I've added the occasions. This is channeled to me. So I've gone to the 7th dimensional realm and I've channeled the invocation. They've told me what I need to give to you in order for you to call upon them. And the same with the guides and the devas. So these are like keys that unlock you and unlock you to the being open to that energy, okay? Drawing it in. And then last but not least, like I said, I'm going to work in one-on-one session. Again, it's called Oracle Rising, and that's with Metatron's Cube. And what we're doing there is we're going to work on building out the holographic body within you. Okay, so your light body is your vehicle to actually get you to the realms. The holographic body allows you to really understand what you're doing there and who you're relating with. You will then have your own capacity, because you don't need to be dependent on me getting you to the realm, right? You need to have that within yourself. I'm going to do some energy sequencing. There's quite a lot. You can read about it there. But there's quite a lot that's going to happen in that session. But I'm going to do the energy sequencing through your celestial body and start to build out your holographic body. I'm going to link you up with each of these beings, but especially I'm going to read for you your specific oracle, your 7th dimensional being that wants to be seen by you, be accepted by you, be embraced by you, to have you embody the reflection of that, which means embody the template of that hologram and become that hologram on planet Earth. So everything that we're doing leads you up to being able to claim the hologram and then to actualize the energies. As your channels are open, your intuition turns on. You can't help it. You literally become the instrument of the information, of the light, of the frequency, of the music that is yours to play.
This is incredible what you're offering here. So are you saying in the first package there's like remote sessions, people are going to be getting energy work and those transfusions from you on the live calls as well, and you're going to be tuning in?
So you think about this in the most practical way. You're going to get 6 calls, and 3 of those are Zoom calls with Carrie Kaisick, which she's going to be using the crystal bowls and syncing you up. And then with me, you're going to have 3 live energy labs. That's not on Zoom. It's not video, it's audio. But during that, we're going to be in smaller groups. And I'm going to go through each person individually. And you're going to be put on the holodeck. And you're going to be literally, I'm going to channel, and we're going to do the healing, and we're going to do that right on the spot. I mean, it's like no other, because when you hear 7 other beings, or, however many people we have in there, you're engaged with me. We are all doing it together, but we bring that energy in and we clear that gateway, we clear that access point, we open the channel, immediately start to bring your oracle energy through, or your spirit guide energy right through, or your deva right through you. And I'm going to share with you the colors that I'm seeing, the smells that I'm experiencing, the visions that I'm bringing through for you. It is so dynamic. It's not like anything you've ever experienced before, because it was nothing like I had ever experienced before. It's profound.
It's the last session I did with you in that way, the reading that you did for me in the group was so spot on, and when that ignited and you called it like new business opportunities were coming in, like there was an expansion of things, and then within months, like this wellspring of energy started flowing with not just new creation ideas, which are wonderful, but the capacity to actually ground them in and carry them forward. And there, it was just so potent. So if this is beyond that, I can't wait to experience it. That's because that was spectacular to begin with. So amazing.
People are living the energy labs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's, you know, what I love about it, and you have to consider, really want to consider this. There are friends and working with me one-on-one in that session, right? Like doing a private session with me, with Metatron's Cube. And it really is all about you. But when you think about balancing that with the energy labs, where you're in group and there's an exponential spiraling vibrational frequency that's bringing us up, but you're still getting that one-on-one attention. So in that Oracle Rising, it really is because we are yearning to become oracles ourselves. That's why I call it Oracle Rising. We're bringing you up because the willingness of your being, your heart, if you're drawn to that private session, it's because you're really here to become an oracle yourself, right? And when we go to an oracle, when we interact with an oracle being, it's an all-knowing being. It's beyond multisensory, multidimensional. It's an all-knowing being. There's an engagement with the universe that is so different than if I'm just channeling clairaudiently and I'm just hearing something. If I become the oracle, then I'm being animated at all times. So I'm actually channeling truth, living truth, translating truth accurately in that every heartbeat, every moment, right? That's what we're becoming the oracle.
Oh, this is so amazing. Y'all, package A is $333. And again, to go into those sessions, those 6 live calls, the bonus, the Celestial Allies Intention download, there's so much here. And again, this is powerful work. That's $333. And Christel, you surprised me with the 1-hour private session as a package B to get everything in package A plus that hour with you for the Oracle Rising session. You know, that's only $100 extra. So well, a little more, $111 extra at $444. And to work with Christel for that amount of time at this pricing it's a true gift. And I'm excited for all of y'all who participate in this. So again, y'all take advantage of it. The link for the special offer is in the chat box. You can always access it at beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. And if you're watching on the replay, it's just right underneath the video where you're watching the call from. Christel, wow. It's like I'm like breathing into like how robust this offer is. So thank you for that. And
you're so welcome. And yet it's still doable. It's still doable. If you guys are working or you can't make these calls, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Because when you live that replay, I'm doing it in real time for you. Do you guys know what that means? I want to make sure you understand, because it doesn't matter if you're working. I'm putting you on the holodeck at that time, and I'm literally tuning in, and we as a collective are shifting that energy for you, with you, because when you go in to listen to the replay, happening in that moment to you, and then you feel the vibration of the occurrence, because on the seventh dimension, we can't even say there's no time reality, which we were saying on the fifth dimension, because it's a hologram, right? And one of the important points that I wanted to share with you guys, and especially with what you're going to be doing with Carrie Kaisick. Now, I've personally had amazing results with Carrie. People work with Carrie and pain goes away, like instantly. You know, she has this wonderful ability, because she's connected with the crystal beings that live inside the crystal bowls. It's not like, oh, I'm playing crystal bowls. She's engaging with that. And the important piece about that is that when you sync up, when you get in sync, and when I take you also into the tiny space of the heart, there's a reason for that. There's a reason, because most time, when we look at a program that has you like channel something, you're going out. And this, it was very important that they said, no. It has to come, they have to come within. The reason why we place so much importance on who do I need to acknowledge before I go into the tiny space. And when I'm in that tiny space, I get to my, I get to that point. Instead of waveform, I come into a point of light, is because internally, we are the hologram of all of creation. There is nothing outside of us, everyone. You've heard it. How many times have you heard that said? But when you think about it in the context of the 7D holographic reality, you really start to understand that when I'm in my inner sanctum, I'm the hologram of all that ever is, was, and will be created.
Yeah, amazing what's coming through, y'all. Again, this is powerful. Christel, thank you for the special offer. And again, y'all know where to find the link. And Christel, I'd love to open up to a little more Q&A, if you're down for that.
Yeah.
Or up for it.
Sure.
Let's go to Sonia. Let's get you to unmute. Welcome to today's call.
Hello, John. Hi, Christel. Thank you. Lovely to be on the show. Can you tell me what's blocking me? I've actually forgotten the wording, but yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, because we actually, for you, right, we're looking at that oracle energy. Now, this is fascinating because from the seventh dimension, it needs to come in, and I'm seeing that there's a bridge with the celestial corridor. So again, that's a gateway. It's on the celestial body, and it's right in the level of your ear chakra. So it's blocking your clairaudience channel. So I don't know if you felt like you're just not hearing everything clearly from your guides or from your other beings that you're connected with. But when I look at that, what I'm starting to see is more of a static energy that's coming through. So I've got a balance, and I want you to write this down because we can either do this in the private session or in the energy labs. But there's static frequency coming in. This is from your third parallel life, okay? Third parallel life. What I'm seeing there is that you're in a place that, you know, think about being bombarded with sound, right? You're a high level empath. And when we start to look at that, your first being clairaudience, if you have some kind of torture method, which is just living wherever you're living in that parallel, that there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise, okay? And so what I would want to do is work on your clairaudience triangle. I need to clear the static. I need to adjust your parallel life, if you will. And the pattern that's bringing that static in is a lack of trust. So we have to clear that distrust and work on, like I said, the triangle clairaudience is both of the ear chakras and the throat chakra. Okay. So we've got to work on increasing your level of trust and opening up that corridor and then that channel. Okay. That's what we got to focus in for you.
Okay. Thank you. I can relate to
Okay.
all of
Yeah.
that. Thank you. Thank you very much. And just as an aside, but it's not really an aside, I did go totally deaf in 2002
Oh,
as a result of a extreme stress. But I just threw that
yeah.
in.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, this will be good. Yeah, to clear it, because it's actually coming from that third parallel life. So you're impacted by the holographic reality on your third parallel life, right?
Yeah.
So what you do on the third parallel is impacting what's happening on planet Earth in this lifetime. So I'm going to adjust that for you when we work. You just have to remind me, okay?
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
All right, Sonia, good to see you. Thank you.
You're
for-
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's continue. Let's go to Roberta. Roberta, welcome.
Thank you so much. Very nice to be amongst you. I'm wondering what kind of self-imposed blocks I might be doing, because I'm feeling a little flatlined. I have so much knowledge, so many skills, and somehow I'm flatlined, like just distracting myself, avoiding all kinds of things. So if there's any insights, much appreciated.
Yeah, this is an interesting dynamic, because the reality is that there's an urgency that's in a reversal energy field. So I'm seeing a energy field that is wrapped around. Now, this oracle realm as well. This is in the 7th dimensional realm. Think of it like plastic wrap of urgency wrapped around your celestial corridor. Okay. So what's happened is, if you've got urgency in reverse, what's taking place, right? So nothing.
Yeah.
Their urgency is to go destroy, right? Their urgency is in reverse. It's not spiral up.
Mhm.
Do you see?
Yes.
So with that, let me check to see when that was created, though, because I do feel like something happened in this lifetime in 1985, somewhere around 1985. Can you recall anything? And it's okay not to put pressure on you to recall that.
I had been away for 5 years from Canada, and I came back for a visit in 1985.
And did something happen during that time?
I re-encountered my family. I'm not consciously aware of, like, if you're thinking
Yeah.
something traumatic or dramatic, but it was a huge thing to come back after 5 years to homeland and people.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Whatever was going on with the field, the energy field, it started going into reverse for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we've got to do is we've got to get that plastic wrap that's a field of consciousness of reversal, and got to bring that back online so that it's spiral up. Okay. So that's
Okay.
what we want to work on. Okay.
All right. And thank you.
Yeah.
Much
Sure, thank you.
You're welcome.
Christel, do we have time for a little more?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, Linda, I'm guided to call on you. Welcome to the call.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm not really sure how to ask the question, but it has to do with the frequency coming in and how it affects our bodies physically. Because if we're raising the frequency, what can we do for our bodies, you might say? And then, of course, I would like to know if there's any divas around me that have a message or I need to look at.
Oh, exciting. Yeah. So this is one of the things. This is why I was saying I have to work with the access points. Because if we don't heal those access points, that's what causes this feeling of like, a bolt of lightning's coming in, rushing in, and then it hits a dense wall, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
not enough, right? It's not enough to just go, oh, but I'm open. Oh, I'm open.
Yeah.
We've got a pure
I know
heart.
that.
Right? But what happens is that there's specific access points. So for you, if we're looking at the Davic realm, we're looking at the earth root nexus. Where is that access point for you? How open is it? What is it showing itself to us as? How does it look? And when I'm looking at that for you, and I'm seeing the earth root nexus, I see it over your right foot. It's over your right foot. Now, when I look at that, it looks kind of like a gnarly root, like a tree that has this kind of gnarly root, kind of bulbous root coming out. And I'm like, well, why are you not smooth? Why are you not opening? Why are you knotted and like roots over the top of the other, right? So what I get is that there was some kind of really scary thing that happened. And I get you right around maybe 5 to 6 years old in this lifetime. Some scary interaction that you had. And I don't know if that was a disturbance with like a gnome or something, some being that was a Davic being that you might have, you as a child, you might have been playing in an area where something happened. But I see kind of a snake-like energy. I see a lot of fear. I see scared and frightened. Okay. Now, if I'm to look at Deva for you, actually what I'm feeling, that there's this being that's trying to help you access the ethereal realm. And this is an ethereal mental come in, and it looks beautiful purple. If you can imagine like a select butterfly, right? And this celestial butterfly is trying to come in and really activate, and it's activating actually more of the crown to the pole star. Fascinating, because we think of the earth realm and the first, second dimension with the first and second chakras. For you, you bring celestial energy through you. You're working with the ethereal realm, and part of your mission in this lifetime is to be able to access more of the ethereal realm. When you do that, you are going behind the veil of creation. You're going behind the veil of creation. So in other words, who are the ethereal beings that are in charge of bringing the message of the light of truth through you? Those are who you're working with as the Devas. And they look like these little purpley light fluttering butterflies.
Are they like oracle or orbs kind of thing? Because I do see those once in a while.
They're like, they're, I mean, from what I'm seeing, they're in the shape of like a butterfly.
Okay.
They're like of a butterfly, but they're little fluttering elementals from the ethereal realm.
Okay, what do I need to do to undo that knot on my right foot?
Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing.
Oh, good. Okay.
We're going to be working with that guided by light. Yeah. So we'll just make sure you write this down, because you guys, you're going to have a way to connect with me. So the beauty of this is that what comes with this guided by light program is that you can actually go into the school group and you can ask me questions and you can interact with me. So make sure you tell me before we go into that third energy lab and say, remember, I was on John with you and you said we wanted to work on this. And then you'll be able to ask me questions. You can interact with me. I'm in there all the time. And you can get intuitive readings done for you, however you want to work with me there. I'm there. I'm available for you. Okay.
Great. Thank you. And I have had problems with my feet in the morning walking. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But I was a toe dance. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Blessings to you. Thank you for coming on. April, Chris, do me a favor, put the link for the special offer in the chat box one more time, please. As we're ending today's call, y'all, if you want to read through it, click on the link right now, and at the very least, keep a tab open so that when we end the call, you don't lose the screen. Again, you can find the offer always on beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. You'll find Christel's picture there and the special offer button as well. Remember, you get the labs, you get the bonuses, you get these remote sessions, you get just so much in there. In package A for $333 with a 2 payment option as well. And the special bonus that Christel threw in is a package B for only $100 more, $111 more, to get that private time with Christel, which is epic. So it's there for y'all in the chat box. Click on it, keep it open, sign up, book your session. And Christel, with that, it's how should we end tonight's call? I wonder what wants to be transmitted to you tonight.
Oh my goodness. I think it would be wonderful if we acknowledged all these beings. To set that in intention. Acknowledge these beautiful dynamic beings. The oracles have been waiting for us. They've been wanting to connect with us, right? We want ourselves to be open to the magic of the oracles, to be available to these reflections of the truth of who we are. I mean, we are dynamic beings. So imagine being able to feel this loving, reflective energy, and to not have anything in the way, not doubting ourselves, not feeling unworthy, not feeling less than, not good enough, right? What if we could just really see the reflection and let it penetrate deep into us and know the truth of ourselves, that we are absolutely worthy of this experience? And imagine all the magic that comes from that connection, right? So we're building out our beautiful holographic body. We're all holograms to each other. We become a beautiful oracle. We become reflective for everyone else. So the math is that as we become the embodiment of the oracle, and as we are reflecting, remember what I said. If we're at a higher dimension, we're always serving those to come up and rise up from lower dimensions. So our reflection gets transformed in that moment to what that person needs in that moment to awaken, to spark their awakening. So that's what I would leave us with. Let's all become oracles. Let's all be beautiful reflections to each other. Let's all rise up, rising. That's it. Yeah.
That's a beautiful invitation. Thank you. Yeah. I interrupted you. You were going to say something. That's why I paused.
No. Actually, I was just listening. I was just beaming. I'm just beaming, if you guys can feel it.
You're definitely beaming.
Yeah.
You beam more and more every time that we talk. So it's every time we connect, it's really quite remarkable.
Aww.
Thank you for lighting a path, for being so aware, for allowing your creativity to spark that intelligence that's living within you and that flame that you just can't help to pass on to others. So it's a blessing to have you on the show, to be able to share you with our audience, and thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you everyone for being on the call, for shining your light, for the blessings that you are, and what else is possible, y'all? With everything that you've done, and we could feel stuck, but what if it's not stuck? What if you're just being called into another blossoming that you didn't know was available? And here it is. And how wonderful again that we can have others like Christel that have an awareness enough to give us the illustration so that we may become aware enough also to cross that threshold as well. So it's amazing. I truly don't see any of y'all as not capable, as like spinning so much in a way that you can't get out of yourself. I really see you that whatever is just showing up in the presence, it's just a facilitation into this amazing, amazing expansion that you're right on the brink of. So again, I see all of y'all in the light. I bow to each one of you in namaste. I love y'all, and I look forward to seeing y'all on the next call. Christel, bye. Thank you so much.